All right, so just right here on these notes, what they're wanting you to do after you figure out the rule is to figure out what the 19th term of that sequence is. You had this, and you found out that your D was what? Your common difference. And then A first was your first term. So when you get this equation, you find out that it is, here, there are equations right here. A n equals A1 plus D times A minus 1. All right, so this is going to be your general equation for an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so we plug our stuff in there. We have an equals, the first term was 7. And that plus difference was, what's my difference here, 6. And now if you looked at the key of the notes, for some reason, I think it's easier just to run it like this and plug 19 in, but for some reason they distributed the 6. So that's where they got this from, plus 6n and then minus 6. That's where this 1 came from. All right, so when you want to find the 19th term, you're saying a to the 19th, so that just means you're substituting 19 in for n. So you do 6 times 19, and then add your 1, and that's where what do we get, 115?
Are you always going to have to find 19 terms, or is it just
no, it's just, in these examples, we're finding 19 because that's what it says in the directions. Usually they'll ask for like the 7th or 8th term or something smaller than that. But the reason why it goes up to 19 is because then you couldn't manually work this out by hand. And I mean, you could, but it would take you forever just to start creating the next term. Say, okay, well, the next term's 31, 37, go all the way up to number 19. I mean, that would take a while.
11.
Okay, so in these ones, so see, this problem they're asking for 824. So at the end, we just know we have to do 24. All right, so I know my formula is, my first term is 1. So we 1 plus, now my difference. Well, you can see every time it goes up by 2. So we 2 there. And we have n, why do I write plus 1? Minus 1. Okay. We know 24 minus 1 is going to give us 23. So 2 times that's 46. So find out a to 24 equals 46 plus 1 is 47. All right, so 15, he deposited $115 into a savings account each week thereafter. He deposited 35. So same formula, an equals a1 plus d n minus 1. So here our first number, or our initial investment, is going to be 115. And then the difference is what gets added every week, which is going to be our 35. Okay, so those are just the two numbers you're going to plug in there. So if we want to write the formula, our formula is going to be an equals 115 plus 35 n minus 1. Again, on the, if you look at the, well, this is the homework, but they go ahead and distribute this just to get less numbers. I don't mind either way, because either way we're going to get the same problem. 35n minus 35. You do that, you find out an equals, right, 35n plus 80. This is the more simplified answer. But either way, if we want to find this next answer for 30 weeks, we would just plug 30 into one of those n's.
Okay, so if it the first part, since it doesn't ask for a specific amount, or yeah, whatever, but you just write out the whole equation, kind of.
Yeah, they just want to know what the formula is. So now, like when this problem is, all we do is take one of these equations. So let's take this one here, say 30. Then we'll do 35. We'll plug 30 in here, and then calculate that. which 35 times 30, 100, I know it's 1,000, something like that. 30 times 35, 1050. So 1130. Yeah, they just broke this equation. We did the same thing up here, just they broke into 2 parts. On 1 through 6, you have to figure out if there is a pattern, if it's arithmetic. So you're just trying to find out if it jumps. Like this one here, see +3. All right, yeah, +3, +2, +3, right?
So it's not.
So it's not. Right here, though, you can see you go 3, 3, 3. So this one's yes, and D equals 3. As I say, if yes, you want to identify the difference. And then these ones are telling you they're already arithmetic, so you're just going through and listing out the next few terms. So like here, it's going down by 2 every time, right? -2, -2, so that means this would be 14, 12, and 10.
Okay.
The only thing that messes people up a lot is like 5, 4, and 6, where you have the negative numbers. Because here you're adding 1, right? Here you're adding 2. Here you're adding, so that one's no since they're different. Whereas here, you're subtracting 5, subtracting 5, subtracting 5, so this one's a yes. And the difference equals, it's going down 5, so it's -5. That number keeps getting smaller.
How about number 5? Number 5, you add.
Okay, so we're adding. Now these are also, if you just want to go through and do it in your calculator, you could do this a bunch of different ways. Usually you should take this, let me see, you should do -6 minus -13. So we find out this is, they added 7. 1 minus -6, 7. 8 minus 1. So you can see they're adding 7 every time. You gotta make sure you're real careful to catch that sign. Because on a multiple choice test, this will give you -7 as one choice, and this will give you +5, and that's where people would make their mistakes. So there's not really a way to, the easiest way to do the equation, start with your first term. So I know -4 goes here. Plus, now my common difference. Again, you have to be able to look at this number and see that they're getting smaller, and then you would know that it's -5. But you could run through on a calculator and do the same thing. -9 minus -4, -14 minus -9, -19 minus -14, and you would see it's -5 every time. So then you put that here, and then you have n minus 1. So we're finding 24 again. So 24 equals -4 plus -5, 24 minus 1. And you can type this whole equation in the calculator as well. So -4 plus, really you could say -5, but I'm just going to use the signs like they are. So you find out it's -119. Thanks. So all these arithmetic sequences are linear functions. Because that common difference that we're looking at right here, this is essentially a slope. If I go over 1, I'm going up 3, over 1, up 3, because that means every term is an x value.
Wait, what do the first parts of the equation represent? Like how you get 1 plus 2 at the beginning of 11.
So, okay. Remember looking at our equation, here's probably a better example here. A1, that just means the first term in your sequence. So first term here is -1. This is 7. It's just that first number you see.
And then how about D?
D is that difference. That's the number we calculated up here. All right, so if you want to go through here and Okay, so first term is -1. First term here is 7. So what's my difference here? It's 3. Let's see, it's -3 because it's going down 3 every time. And then here it's going to go up 6 every time. So D is 6.
So would the equation for 12 be -1, negative, or -3, parentheses, n minus 1, parentheses?
Say it one more time.
-1, -3, parentheses, n minus 1.
Yeah.
Would the answer be A24 equals 19?
See, we got -70, but I've seen mistakes on our answer keys before. So let me see. So you did. You have -1, -3, parentheses, 24, -1. Yeah, you should get -70.
Oh, wait, I didn't distribute.
Oh, okay.
So the answer is -70.
Yeah.
Wait, can I see number 15 again?
Yeah.
Was the answer for number 14 145?
Yes.
Can you do number A for number 16?
We'll use the equation up here with 15 because it's going to be the same thing. So manage the soccer team. When these hand out cups, practice each cup is 4 ounces of water. She begins practice. So remember, A1 is what you start with. So we're starting with a 128-ounce water cooler. And then D is your common difference, which in this case it says is 4. But you have to understand here that she's taking out, so it should be a -4. Okay, so our formula is going to say AN equals our initial is 28. And I'm going to go ahead and say -4 and -1. So with this, after like the 10th cup, you can find out how much water is left. Again, if you want to distribute this, write the other formula, it would be AN equals.
If I just write it down without distributing, or would you rather us distribute?
It doesn't matter to me either way.
Okay.
Because I see people making little mistakes, like distributing this -4 could make a mistake with your negative signs here. And why would you do that and get the wrong answer when you could have just plugged your number into that equation up top? It makes it a little easier typing your calculator if you distribute. Then we get what? 132 minus 4n. Okay. See, because even like this is our answer key right here. And this problem is correct right here, but when they distribute the -4, they got it right, but then they added 4 and 28, and somehow they left it 128. So now when they plug the number in here, that's going to be the wrong answer. I try to do it in as short amount of steps as possible, because the more steps you make, the easier it is to make a mistake. So when we plug this in, I'll do it both ways. So we'll do 128 minus 4, 14 minus 1, and then we can do it 132 minus 4 times 14. Again, you don't have to do one of them, but just to kind of play around with it and make sure they're both right. 128 minus 4 times 14 minus 1. So we get 76 here. 32 minus. Yeah, so.
So is that all we have to do today?
That's it. Tomorrow we'll do geometric. All right, so the main thing here is our equation. All right, so this is our equation that we're arithmetic sequence.
Okay.
I don't know if I spelled it right, but.
We're not in English class.
All right, so with this equation, this is always your first term of your sequence. This is your common difference. The common difference. Okay? So if I give you a sequence 9, 11, 13, 15, etc. If I want to plug this equation in, I'm going to say AN equals my first term, which is 9, plus. Now, my common difference, if you look, is we went up 2 every time, right? So that's a 2, and I have n minus 1.
Mm-hmm.
So what this is to help you find whatever a term of the sequence you want. So right now, how many terms do I have?
3, 4, 5,
I have
4.
terms, right? So say I wanted to know the 5th term. Well, I know the 5th term is number 17, right? Because I got to add 2. But look what happens when I plug in 5 in here. So say if I wanted to go through and calculate it, 5 minus 1. So that's 9 plus 2. That is 4. So I get 9 plus 8, which is 17.
Which is true.
Yes. So again, I wouldn't use this formula to figure out the 5th term, but if they ask you the 12th term, okay, then it might be a little more time efficient to go through and just plug it in the formula. Again, you could go through and figure out what the 12th term is if you wanted. But you're seeing the homework problems, they're asking for the 24th and 19th, and that takes a lot of time. To whereas if I could just go through here and take 12 minus 1, I can do 9 plus 2 times 11. 9 plus 22, I know that it's going to be 31. 21, 22, 20. Oh, see, I made a mistake already. 23, 25, 27, 29, and 31. So that's all we're really doing. And again, this is no different than a linear equation. Because of that common difference is basically your slope.
Okay.
So remember when we did slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. This was our y-intercept, where the graph started, and then this is your slope. I mean, that's no different. This is the slope, and this is your y-intercept, basically.
So is like number 15 the same thing? So we just like use the formula?
So I went through and used this formula here. A was my initial investment. That's my starting point of my sequence, which was 115. And then he put 35 in, so that was a plus 35. Okay. That's the one thing, if you look at 16, you start with 128 ounces, but she's taking away 4 ounces, so that should be a negative 4. That's the main difference in that one.
Okay, so for number 11, do we put 24 first? Because it says find the A24.
For which number are we doing?
11, I know.
11? All right, so when you find the 24th term, that's the number you're going to plug in at the end.
Okay.
All right, so you go through, set up your equation. So we set up our equation like this. Our first term was 1. And then the difference was 2. It went up 2 every time. And then all we did is take 24 and plug it in for n right here.
24 minus. So it's going to be 3 plus 23.
No. Remember, when you have this equation here, you can't add the 1 and 2.
Oh.
You have to do the parentheses first and then multiply. And you type that straight in your calculator and it'll follow the order operations as well. So we did.
It's going to be 23. 23 times 2 is going to be, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the main thing with these, though. Don't rush and make a mistake, because they're not too difficult, but they are an easy place to make a mistake. We've had, I think, 2 mistakes on the answer sheet already. If you look at 16, like this one, on 16. And they distributed it, and for some reason right here, they didn't do 128 plus 4 to get 132. They just left at 128. And that made the answer wrong down here.
Where did you get the 80 from?
Oh, so there's 2 ways to write this equation. I like to leave it like this. Okay, just how it is, because I know I can plug the number in there, and then I can go with that. Now, what they do, though, is you can distribute this 35, do 35 times n, and 35 times negative 1 is negative 35, and then combine these terms. That's what I'm saying. You could use either one of these equations. So that's what I did on the 16 down here. That's what I went through, and I did it this way, and I did it this way.
Oh.
And they both give the same answer.
Where did you get the 14 from?
Which problem? Oh, 16?
Yeah.
That's what they're asking, the 14th cup.
Okay.
Number 10. So we have 7, 13, 19, 25. All right, so this is our sequence. and they're asking us to find A19. Okay. So the main thing is just understanding kind of what they're really asking you. So this is my sequence, right? This is my first term, second term, third term, fourth term. So I want to go all the way to my 19th term, and I want to know what goes there. Now, most of these, especially arithmetic ones, you could go through and figure out, but it might take a while depending how big this number is, right? So what you do is you want to use this formula. All this formula does, you take your first term of your sequence. This is your first term, which in this case is 7. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to write my equation first. So 7 plus. Now, D is your common difference. What I was showing Holly just a little bit ago was this equation is exactly like slope-intercept form. Okay, you have your y-intercept where you start. A1 is where I start, and then this is my slope, how much it goes up every time. So that's all this is. So if you look at this, I'm going up 6. So that's just going to be a 6 then, because that's how much I go up every time. Then I have n minus 1. And now, since they're asking for my 19th term, they're just saying n is going to be 19. So all that tells you is to plug 19 into that equation.
Okay. 6. 19 minus 1. I don't know where my calculator is. I'm just going to do this in my head.
Okay, that's fine. So the main thing is, I forget who made the mistake earlier, but don't do 7 plus 6. Okay, you have to do parentheses first to get 18, and you have to do multiplication. 6 times 18. 6 times 2. 108, I think.
Yeah, I need a calculator for that. Where did I put it? I don't know. It's probably in my room somewhere.
And that's the one thing though, once you get your calculator, it makes your life a lot easier because you can type this whole equation in here. You can just do 7 plus 6 parentheses 19 minus 1, and you get your answer. But again, you can work it out by hand too.